NSE 6_FML 6.2 Fortinet NSE 6 FortiMail 6.2 exam is one of the 4 exams required to get your NSE 6 certification. You are encouraged to read DumpsBase NSE 6_FML 6.2 dumps questions as the preparation materials. We ensure that you can pass NSE 6_FML 6.2 Fortinet NSE 6 FortiMail 6.2 exam in the first attempt. Which 3 statements about SMTPS and SMTP over TLS are true? Choose 3. A. SMTPS connections are initiated on port 465. B. SMTPS encrypts only the body of the email message. C. SMTPS encrypts the identities of both the sender and receiver. D. The STARTTLS command is used to initiate SMTP over TLS. E. SMTP over TLS connections are entirely encrypted and initiated on port 465. Answer: A, C, D. If you are using the built-in MTA to process email in transparent mode, which 2 statements about FortiMail behavior are true? Choose 2. A. If you disable the built-in MTA, FortiMail will use its transparent proxies to deliver email. B. FortiMail ignores the destination set by the sender, and uses its own MX record lookup to deliver email. C. MUAs need to be configured to connect to the built-in MTA to send email. D. FortiMail can queue undeliverable messages and generate DSNs. Answer: B, D. While testing outbound MTA functionality, an administrator discovers that all outbound email is being processed using policy IDs 1, 2 to 0. Which 2 reasons explain why the last policy ID value is 0? Choose 2. A. There are no access delivery rules configured for outbound email. B. Outbound email is being rejected. C. IP policy ID 2 has the exclusive flag set. D. There are no outgoing recipient policies configured. Answer: A, D. Which of the following statements describes the user inactivity expiry time of 90 days? A. First-time IBE users must register to access their email within 90 days of receiving the notification email message. B. IBE user accounts will expire after 90 days of inactivity, and must register again to access new IBE email message. C. After initial registration, IBE users can access the secure portal without authenticating again for 90 days. D. Registered IBE users have 90 days from the time they receive a notification email message to access their IBE email. Answer: B. A FortiMail administrator is investigating a sudden increase in DSNs being delivered to the protected domain for undeliverable email messages. After searching the logs, the administrator identifies that the DSNs were not generated as a result of any outbound email sent from the protected domain. Which FortiMail anti-spam technique can the administrator use to prevent this scenario? A. Spam outbreak protection. B. Bounce address tag validation. C. FortiGuard IP reputation. D. Spoofed header detection. Answer: A. FortiMail is configured with the protected domain example.com. Which two envelope addresses will require an access-receive rule to relay for unauthenticated senders? Choose 2. A. Mail from accounts at example.com RCPT to sales at external.org. B. Mail from support at example.com RCPT to marketing at example.com. C. Mail from training at external.org RCPT to students at external.org. D. Mail from ms at hosted.net RCPT to NOC at example.com. Answer: B. D. An administrator sees that an excessive amount of storage space on a FortiMail device is being used up by quarantine accounts for invalid users. The FortiMail is operating in transparent mode. Which two FortiMail features can the administrator configure to tackle this issue? Choose 2. A. Automatic removal of quarantine accounts. B. Recipient address verification. C. Bounce address tag verification. D. Sender address rate control. Answer: A. D. MTA1 is delivering an email intended for user 1 to MTA2. Which two statements about protocol usage between the devices are true? Choose 2. A. User 1 will use logs were generated load the email message from MTA2. B. MTA2 will use IMAP to receive the email message from MTA1. C. MTA1 will use POP3 to deliver the email message to user 1 directly. D. MTA1 will use SMTP to deliver the email message to MTA2. Answer: A. D. Which configuration change must you make to block an offending IP address temporarily? A. Add the offending IP address to the system block list. B. Add the offending IP address to the user block list. C. Add the offending IP address to the domain block list. D. Change the authentication reputation setting status to enable. Answer: D. Which statement describes the pre-registered status of the IBE user xuser2 at external.lab? A. The user has received an IBE notification email, but has not accessed the HTTPS URL or attachment yet. B. The user account has been deactivated, and the user must register again the next time they receive an IBE email. C. The user was registered by an administrator in anticipation of IBE participation. D. The user has completed the IBE registration process, but has not yet accessed their IBE email. Answer: D.